May you find happiness and peace, and may your home stand the test of time.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary. Today I'll be reacting to Charlie and Candace Decimate White Liberal. So without further ado, let's get started.
Was there ever a point in history where white privilege did exist?
No. Yeah, I suppose when we lived in a country where if you were black, you were not allowed to go into certain places, right? I suppose you could say again, and I guess that wouldn't be white privilege. You would call that Nordic privilege in the progressive era when there were signs that said Irish need not apply. So that's a different, that is white on white, a lack of a privilege. Of course, there's examples in the history of the world where you would have been privileged if your skin was white, especially in this country and in other countries as well. But today, no, white privilege does not exist.
When did it end?
Over time, beginning with the civil rights era, it's not a particular incident or moment, but multi-generations, the country became significantly less racist. I would say after Reconstruction, after the Civil War, after, when we had desegregation, fought the Democrat institutional racism. We fought back against the KKK when the Civil Rights Act was signed, when blacks were allowed to participate in Major League Baseball, the National Football League, the National Basketball Association, serve an elected office. All those things, contributed to the end of what used to be privilege in society, white privilege.
You said less racist. Is it still somewhat racist?
No, do you just have questions? I think.
No, you said you wanted a dialogue. I'm having a
okay.
conversation.
No.
It's the least racist country in the world.
No, America is not a racist country today.
Is it still racist? So
No.
when did it end?
There's certain.
You can't answer the question.
It ended when it ended.
I just did.
Okay,
No, you didn't. You said less
I will
racist.
answer. I'll answer. I'm
when did it
answering
end?
you.
Thank you.
When it stopped being systemic, when there stopped being laws in place that stopped
That's
me
a
as
great
a black person doing what you're able to do as a white man.
No, I'm not asking that. Systemic racism is not simply that issue.
Yes, you just asked
about
me to
the
define when it stopped being, when this
What about
country
what?
stopped being racist. That's the answer.
When?
That I can't give you the exact date and time and hour. I'm telling you
Give
when.
me the decade.
What do you mean?
Mid-1970s.
Yeah,
Mid-1970s.
yeah.
So mass incarceration affecting black and brown communities disproportionately
Because
to their population.
they committed more crimes.
They
Yeah,
committed
well,
more,
yeah.
As to why? Why did they commit more crimes?
Because
they
we
were
ripped
black,
apart the
or was it
family.
Because of
It's
their
not-
economic situation. I'm not fucking talking to you, dude.
Why are liberals so angry? I can't figure out why you're
I'm not a
angry. Why are you
liberal.
angry
I'm not a liberal,
right
so
now?
stop assuming my political
Okay, well, you
affiliation.
just
Definitely not a
came out of
conservative.
nowhere and just start cursing.
No, you invited me up here, raised my hand,
I know,
and
but
you
I'm
said,
saying
"Please
you
come
just
up
turned
here."
around and
No,
you're
stop
cursing
trying
at
to change
someone.
the-
Why don't you calm down? It's just a conversation.
I'm perfectly calm. I can
Nobody,
curse
you
while
don't have
being
to turn
calm.
around and curse anyone behind you.
I can.
You're
It's
okay.
a free country, right?
Okay. No, but I'm saying that it's not necessary to have this dialogue for you to
Necessary.
turn around and be
That's
angry.
true.
I do always remark, and I am going to suspect that you are liberal because right now you're trying to sell me
I'm
my
not
own.
liberal.
You're
I
selling me
just
my own
said it.
oppression, so that's a very liberal
I'm not
stance.
liberal.
Usually, when a white man stands up and tells me that yes, this is a racist country and is oppressed, they do tend to be liberal. Only liberals try to sell me my oppression.
I'm not.
But okay, I'm not going to assume your
Thank you. Thanks.
political ideology. So here's
Yes, I do.
I mean, to answer your question for me, when the system stops being racist and there's nothing stopping us, and you brought up the prison rates, and you said something that was actually really important. You said it's because their communities have been economically depressed. So that would not be because of the color of your skin. That's economic privilege. If you ask me whether or not I believe in economic privilege, I would tell you yes. If you ask me whether or not I think that somebody born into a family of billionaires will be afforded more privileges in life than somebody that is born in the projects of Chicago, I would say yes, because economic privilege in this country does exist. But there is no law in place that is stopping a person because of the color of their skin from gaining that economic privilege, which is why I do not believe that white privilege, which is based upon the color of your skin, exists.
Is black poverty and white poverty different? Do
No.
they face different?
No,
That's
poor
a
is
sin.
poor.
That's a lie. White people are more likely to be in rural poverty, which is different than urban poverty.
That's because
in
black
close-knit-
people don't live in rural parts of America.
What?
That's because black people don't live in rural parts of America.
Why? Historically, why? Why did black people flock?
Because of Lyndon
to
Baines
urban-
Johnson, urban planning, central planning, great society, where he said, we are going to verticalize the black community, destroy the black father, introduce drugs in the late 1960s, subsidize single motherhood, which used to be 22% in the 1960s, which is now 73%. Only a government program could make something like that happen.
Did it have anything to do with the lynchings in the South and the hostility towards black people in the South?
Anyway, I just wanted to clear things out. I agree with, Charlie. I love how he analyzed things, You're saying, why is it that black people stay in the rural part of the country. But I feel, based on Charlie, he said it can only be political, because for you to have a society whereby a certain kind of people are, really into drugs, and the other part of people, even if they do drugs, but it's on a very low minimum. So you can, easily point out who would be affected by, drugs and so many other things. And I think that is why Charlie and Candace are trying to explain to this guy right here the reason why white privilege don't exist anymore. Because to me, I feel whatever a black man can do, a white man can also do, and whatever a white man can do, a black man can do. I think back then, I do hear of things like people rejecting black people from entering some certain place and stuff like that. But it's just like how will I call it? People advocating for feminism. It does not end one day. It comes gradually. It ends gradually. From people giving women the privilege to speak and also giving them the right to vote. They all did not happen one day. It takes time. Change is a gradual process, and I think that is what is happening right here. Racism is gradually falling away. White privilege is gradually falling away. Everyone is benefiting. If you are qualified for a certain job, I don't think you'll be deprived of that job simply because of the color of your skin. Well, I've never been out of the shell of Africa, but based on what I've seen and based on what I've heard, and based on what I've heard from Charlie, from Candace, and so many other people, I think there is no law that is preventing a white man. There's no law that is preventing a black man from getting the job that a white man can do. So long as you are qualified, you can equally do that job. So I don't know what this gentleman is saying, but anyway, he has his right, and I want to see how this video unfolds, guys. So let's just continue.
Well, first off, you say
is there any reason
you're
why they left the South for that reason?
Just so everybody
Is that-
knows, literally not half to go, 1/3 of the people that were lynched in the South were white Republicans. So Republicans were being lynched in the South as well. So let's not pretend that
okay,
if,
that's
if,
fine,
if your
but that's
argument,
not-
if you're
that's
asking
not
me,
addressing my
it
point.
seems
You're just-
like
that's a what about
it
argument.
seems
You
like
just
you're
addressed something else.
no, I just responded.
Does
You
it
said it
have
was a
anything
dialogue.
to do black people leaving the South and going to inner cities and other
He just
parts of
answered
the
that
country
question for you.
have anything to no? I said, does it have anything to do with the KKK
Very little to nothing.
lynchings
Yes.
and violence in the South that black people face?
So what it has to do with is the fact that black people continue.
Answer my question.
No,
Very little to
Does
nothing.
it? Yes or no?
Very
You're
little.
not allowing
Answer.
me to, listen, you're not going to be like, you're not my boss. So
guys
don't
do
tell
the
me,
same shit.
don't
You
tell me
guys
how I
talk
have
about
to
this
answer
is
your
angry.
question. Okay,
Shutting people down.
nobody's intimidated from you telling me how I'm going to
not
answer
trying
your
to
question.
intimidate you. I'm
You're not
trying to
going to
have an
cut, you're not
honest
going to cut me off,
conversation.
okay?
No, I'm
So
trying to have an honest
why don't you
conversation,
stop,
which you
why
guys
don't you
do
stop
not want to.
exercising your invisible white privilege and let the black girl talk for a second, okay?
That's nice. No, this has nothing to do with
Okay,
that.
so to answer your question,
So white privilege
everything
exists.
that you're
Wait,
talking
wait,
about,
wait, wait,
no,
wait.
I said invisible white privilege.
does it exist
I
then?
said invisible white privilege. If you listen,
Of course it's
okay?
invisible.
So
White
first
privilege is
things
not a
first,
tangible
white
thing.
privilege does not exist. Economic privilege does exist, okay? If you're asking me, do I think the black community has been crippled economically, the answer would be yes. It has been crippled economically
That's
by
true.
Democrat policies. You just heard
Who
me
cares
say that
who
in
does
there.
it?
I
Democrats
care.
are
So that
Americans.
tells you-
Democrats are in America,
because
so
that
therefore
tells
you
you-
just
that
admitted
tells you-
that there has been disadvantages
it
by
is not
two
race.
black
It
people
is
by
not-
Democrats
it
who
is
are
not
American.
based
You
off
just
of
admitted it.
It is not based off. You asked
No.
me if white privilege exists. The answer is white privilege. Because you're born white, that means you're going to not
You
have
just-
this or that. It does not exist. No, it does not
You just
exist.
admitted that the Democrats, the boogeyman Democrats,
They're not boogeyman. They
disadvantaged
exist.
the black
Boogeyman
people.
doesn't exist.
No,
60 years
Democrats
ago.
do exist.
they did it.
So
60
boogeyman means doesn't
years ago.
exist. Just so you know, there
We're
are
talking about
Democrats.
So
today.
you admit that it exists.
60.
I don't think you're
It did
comprehending.
exist.
You're not.
So,
You're not
let-
I'm
comprehending.
not sure that you are. You said
60 years ago, white people had it better than black people. Over time, there's no more systemic laws that are in place. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. What can a white person
Do
do
we
that a black person
disproportionately-
cannot do today in today's America? Name one thing.
well, black people have a
Answer
harder-
the question. Isn't that
I'm about
how
to
this
answer
works?
the fucking question. Black people who smoke marijuana, black and white people smoke marijuana at the same rates. Yet a black person is 3 to 4 times more likely
I can
to be
answer
put
that.
in jail for that.
Okay,
And I
because-
know the reason why, because yeah, the police are in the urban
No,
communities. It's easier
no.
police.
Wow.
Because
But that-
actually, I had a girlfriend. I had a family member who got a DUI, and I had a
You are
girlfriend who got a
disgraced,
DUI.
just to let you know, by just saying what you're saying and standing up here and knowing what's going on through the police brutality,
injustice,
I
all
love
this stuff.
This is so,
You're
I
a
guys,
joke.
I
You're
love
a
that
joke.
behind me. There's like black people rolling their eyes, but the two white guys are yelling at me, telling me that I don't agree with them. This is what I love about white liberals, right? Like they know
I'm not a
it's so
liberal.
important
You're a
for
Marxist.
them to sell us
No,
our
I'm not.
oppression that they'll come up and tell us we're under grace. Just
Do
say
you
it.
speak
Just
for all
say
black
it. Just
people?
say it. Just say
Can
it.
you speak for
well,
all
why
black
don't you
people?
stop speaking for black people? That would be
not?
great. Okay.
God, this became something else towards the ending. I think the guy was able to get on Candace's nerve, and I think she's just losing it. Anyway, this is beautiful. I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed this dialogue. When you bring out your opinion and someone is there to counter your opinion. It's kind of fun because you tend to learn from the both parties, and I think I'm learning from these two people. I think the guy asking the question, he's still holding on to the fact that white privilege exists, and Candace and Charlie are trying to let him know that no, they don't exist. Well, even if they did exist, but gradually it's all fading away, just like racism. You see, now when it comes to sports, if you like shame anyone based on their race, you'll be penalized. And by doing that, they're trying to crumble this racism. They're trying to make football a game that everyone can enjoy. And aside from football, other sports are also practicing the same thing. That is what is happening now in the society. So if you feel like white privilege exists back then, now it's fading away. If you feel like there's a certain part of the country that only white people, live in, I feel if you have enough money to rent a place in that part of the country or the part of the city, no one is going to deprive you of paying to stay there. Back to my country, there are places where rich people stay. You only see rich people around there, but that does not mean there is a certain amount of money you have before they give you that place. So long as you have the amount of money to rent it, you'll be able to get a place there, or you have an amount of money to buy a place there. You'll be given that. You'll be allowed to stay there because your money is talking. So the fact that a black man has money to buy or to rent a place in a place occupied by white, he won't be deprived of having access to that place. So I think gradually, everything about this white privilege is fading away. I know it was there before. Even back to my example when I made mention of feminism, there was a certain point in time that women were not allowed to do anything. They were not allowed to speak in church. They were not allowed to vote. They were not allowed to work or do some like kind of tangible job simply because of their gender. But now things are fading away. That's one. I think Candace had a dialogue with a feminist. The lady was like, she's been deprived of so and so. Candace was like, this is the right time for you to be born a woman, because now you're allowed to speak and your voice is being heard. And aside from that, you're allowed to vote. You're allowed to do everything that a man can do. That is what is happening right here. Like white privilege, I feel we black are allowed to do everything a white can do. Well, if you don't believe me and you have proof, to back your facts, you can let me know in the comment section. You can, send me videos on Instagram that will, prove me wrong or show me that yes, white privilege really exists. And I'll make a video about it, and we'll dialogue, we'll talk more about this issue. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section. If it is your first time visiting the channel, click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and remember this.